Thanks, everyone. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Orion, an ASX and JSE listed company. You've all read the disclaimer. Lawyers, tell the lawyers I told you about it. We've got 1.3 billion shares on issue at the moment, a market cap of about $54 million this morning in Australia. We're probably one of the few share prices that didn't tank in Australia this morning, so I suppose we're a bit of a winner. We also a Tembo Capital child. So we've also got the Tembo Capital people out of Britain that have been extremely supportive of us, and they've provided the capital to very, very intensively advance this project over the last 12 months. It was a year ago yesterday that we shook hands on a deal with Tembo. Since then, we've drilled 42,000 meters at what we believe is one of the most prospective VMS targets in the world at the moment. The Orion Belt in South Africa, let's find the pointer on this thing. Orion Belt in South Africa, Vedanta obviously make the big noise of their stuff over at Comsburg and Black Mountain over here. Orion Belt a bit to the east, about 300 k's to the east. Prieska mine right at the bottom over here, discovered in 1968, 2.4 kilometers strike, 9-meter wide outcropping VMS deposit. By 1969 they made the decision to build the biggest underground mechanized mining operation of its time in the southern hemisphere. By 1971 they commissioned a 250,000 ton a month milling operation, and they milled for 20 years and did exactly what they expected, milled out 47 million tons, produced about 1 million tons of zinc and 440,000 tons of copper. And 2 years before the mine finally closed, the last blast was in 1989. 1987, 23 million tons at 1.6 copper and 1.6% copper, 4.3% zinc remaining. That's what caught my attention originally. Went back, digitized the mine plans, had a really good look at the mine plans, said, well, you know, about 8 million tons of that might still be in pillars that we don't really want to consider. Yes, they blasted 2 million tons, so let's knock off about 10 million of that 23. And that's a good starting point then. Is there more to it? And we believe that there was more. The mine had a fantastic production history. For 20 years, produced 85% recovery on average of both the copper and the zinc. Produced absolutely top premium quality copper and zinc concentrates. 28 to 31% copper concentrates, 49 to 53% zinc concentrates, on average of 51.5% concentrate for the life of mine. Most importantly, none of the toxic metals, none of the horrible things that some of our neighbors in the Namakwaland have got. We don't have the manganese, we don't have the cobalt, we don't have the cadmium in our concentrates. We also don't have what a lot of mines around the world have got problems with, the arsenic, cesium, selenium, bismuth. Metal traders love this concentrate. They know this concentrate. They were selling it until the early 90s, and they want it again. And the market wants this again. So what makes us such a special deposit? Well, geologically it's great, but infrastructure. It's in the middle of nowhere, so we don't have the pressures of what a lot of South Africa deal with. We don't have the community issues. Our closest community is 65 kilometers away at Prieska. But what we do have is a completely probably over-engineered and over-capitalized mine, typical South African style, built in the early 70s. Tar road to the mine site. They built a rail all the way to the mine site. The last 40 kilometers has been stripped back, but we do have a siding 43 kilometers away from the mine site. We've got regional Eskom grid feed. The mine has also now become a focus of independent power production, with 600 megawatts of solar and wind power being constructed all around us on the mine property. 250 megawatts is already installed and operational, delivering in what used to be the mine substation is now a delivery substation and goes into the national grid. We've got a water pipeline with a purification plant in Prieska, still fully operational. We've done full inspection on the water pipeline, delivers 300,000 cubes of water to the mine site to this day, 470 millimeter pipeline. In the middle of the desert, low environmental sensitivity, everything that you could dream of, because you don't have the interference and the problems of the rest of South Africa. What we're busy with at the moment is we're about halfway through a bankable feasibility study that's designed to be completed in October this year. Everything is going exceptionally well. In fact, I think all of our expectations are being exceeded. We put out our first resource statement yesterday morning, on the worst day in the market, mind you, but we did go 100% above our expectation on the initial block that we drilled. We had hoped to drill up about 12 million tons to announce by yesterday. We drilled up 24 million tons that was announced, and all our metallurgical test work verifies the historical stuff. Our shaft inspection work has shown that the shaft is in better quality than what it was before. We have ramps and declines that we've opened down to the 350 meter level. They are exceptionally good. The geotechnical conditions on this mine are great. It's a big, robust ore body that allows very low cost mining. This is the resource that we announced yesterday. As I said, 24 million tons on average at zero cut-off, 3.5 odd zinc and 1.2 copper. There are significant gold and silver credits there. The area that we really, our biggest focus is a small open pit here with about 1.2 million tons of nice high-grade ore. And then this area of the deep sulfide ore body that we had historical data on from Anglo American. This was stuff that was estimated and was done under the supervision of Dr. Krieger. So the father of Krieging, he developed Krieging for base metal on this deposit. Unfortunately, it was done before any compliance. So it's not a JORC compliant resource. And we haven't been able to speak to JORC compliant numbers until now. Now we can do it. So on here, just so that you know, this area that's drilled in orange is now drilled on about a 40-meter spacing. It's about 30% of that resource that's on the table at the moment. We are continuing to drill the areas that we're drilling with high intensity at the moment is over here. And over here is what we want to start drilling very shortly, because this area about here is one of the early mining districts, and we'd like to focus on that. Just to put this in context, at a zinc equivalent grade over here at the various cutoffs for the ore over here, you can see it's quite a robust ore body. You don't lose many tons as you go up the grade curve. Order of magnitude at the moment, and we've done a very detailed scoping study as part of our due diligence process before we acquired the project. We acquired the project for $8 million, by the way, in March last year. The pay limit is probably in the order of 3.5 to 4.2 zinc equivalent. That's the pay limit. Look at these grades over here. You're at about twice the pay limit on a C1 working cost. To have an ore body that's on average 9 meters wide, gets to a maximum of 35 meters wide, we're looking at a minimum of 2.5 meters width. The mining costs on a bulk ore body like that are amazing. It's very, very efficient and metallurgically a very nice operation to run. Simple milling, simple process, very, very robust economics on it. Quite interestingly, the biggest thing on this, and there's quite a lot of interest at the moment from some of the big boys around that are coming to speak to us, because they're saying, how did we miss this? How did we miss this belt as being such a significant opportunity? You know, what you've got in the Orion is a very unique thing, because you had a VMS development complex. Now, just think of these VMSs. You turn on National Geographic, you turn on Discovery. These things form at millimeters per annum. This is a 30-meter wide ore body. There was a long period where this was standing still and forming VMS deposits, and that's very important. And then later on, you got intrusion of a whole lot of nickel, copper, cobalt, platinum deposits. That was our expertise in Orion. That's what we did, and we had $4.5 million of Australian grant funding to develop the exploration science for that. We've brought that science to the Orion belt. We've just flown 1,900 square kilometer SkyTem survey. We have picked 19 high priority VMS targets, and we've also picked a whole number of these green dots down here on nickel, copper, cobalt, platinum known occurrences that we have now got a hot target on them with modern EM. I think there's going to be some interesting numbers coming out shortly on the one target here already that is drilled. This is where the next big base metal discovery is going to be made in Southern Africa, and it's an area completely overlooked. We are in a completely changed geopolitical risk profile in South Africa, and suddenly the world is looking at this as an investment destination. Let's hope politics goes in our favor over the next few days. Thank you.